Beaufort, North Carolina has been named one of America's coolest towns. It has been named one of the South's best coastal cities. And every year, more and more people decide to call it home. But here's the thing. Most people moving to Beaufort aren't moving here because of the waterfront, the wild horses, or the historic homes. They're moving here because of something much bigger. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why so many people are relocating here to Beaufort. Who tends to love it, who probably won't, and some things nobody tells you until after you move here. One of the biggest reasons that people end up choosing Beaufort over other Crystal Coast communities actually has nothing at all to do with the beach. In fact, Beaufort really isn't a beach town. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions people have before they move here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. One thing I hear over and over again from people relocating here is that Beaufort just feels different. And before anybody corrects me in the comments, around here, it's pronounced Beaufort, not Beaufort, like South Carolina. If you're moving here, learning that pronunciation will probably save you from a gentle correction from a local. Now, Beaufort is hard to explain until you actually get here. Beaufort isn't trying to be Myrtle Beach. It's not trying to be Wilmington. It's certainly not trying to be just like Charleston. It is, however, one of North Carolina's oldest towns and has a long history of being a working waterfront for over 300 years. And that history just isn't hidden away in a museum somewhere. You can actually feel it when you're here. Walk through downtown and you will literally see homes that have been standing for hundreds of years, for generations. The town's connection to pirates and the legendary Blackbeard are still a part of its identity to this very day. Events like the pirate invasion aren't just tourist attractions, they're an actual part of the culture. Whether you're into history or not, it's very evident that Beaufort has a story to tell. And I think that's a reason why so many people connect with it almost instantly. It feels authentic, not manufactured, not master planned, just authentic. People still wave to each other. Locals still know each other. Golf carts roll up and down Front Street. Boats of all different kinds line the waterfront. Commercial fishing remains a part of Beaufort's identity even to this day. And yes, I know people are probably getting tired of me saying the pace of life is slower in these videos, but with Beaufort, it's absolutely true. It's not lazy, it's not sleepy, and of course, for a lot of people moving, that's exactly what they're looking for. One of the biggest surprises for newcomers is that Beaufort still offers small town charm without feeling completely isolated. A lot of people moving here from larger areas, from metro areas, are always concerned that they're going to give up so much convenience in exchange for living the coastal life. While Beaufort definitely isn't a metro area or a city, the reality is that Beaufort sits in a pretty unique location here on the Crystal Coast. Within 15 minutes, you can get to Morehead City, Atlantic Beach, Carter Healthcare Hospital. You've got tons of restaurants, shopping, and of course, award-winning school systems all right here. Like I just mentioned, because Morehead City sits right next door to Beaufort, a lot of those amenities that might come with a larger city that Beaufort doesn't have, well, they're just a quick drive over the bridge to get to. Hospital, medical appointments, dental appointments, they're nearby. If Beaufort doesn't have it within the city limits, well, there's a good chance it's just a quick drive away. That's one reason Beaufort appeals to such a wide range of people. Retirees appreciate having health care and daily necessities close at hand, while families like the fact that they can live in the small town environment and not have to sacrifice and feel like they're disconnected from convenience. People don't always realize just how central Beaufort is to everything happening on the Crystal Coast. You want to spend the day at Atlantic Beach? That's just a short drive. You want to take the ferry to Cape Lookout? You're already there. You want dinner in Morehead City? Or a walk on the Beaufort waterfront? Both are easy options. You get access to multiple communities and lifestyles without having to live in the middle of a large city. And for a town of this size, travel is surprisingly better than most people anticipate. Beaufort has Michael J. Smith Field right here in town for private flights, and you're about an hour drive away from regional airports in New Bern and Jacksonville. And for longer or international flights, most residents use Raleigh-Durham International. It's about a 2.5 hour drive from Beaufort to the airport. So while Beaufort itself may feel small and relaxed, you're not having to sacrifice what you're looking for on a daily basis. In many ways, that's part of the appeal. You're getting all the charm and postcard vibes of a small town without having to sacrifice for the things that make daily life easier. If we've never met, my name is Zack.Dixon, and I'm a realtor with the Holland Shepard Group in Keller Williams Crystal Coast. I was born and raised right here on the Crystal Coast in Carteret County, specifically here in Beaufort. And every week I put out new videos helping people better understand the Crystal Coast before they make the move here. If that's something you're interested in, well, stick around. All right, let's get back to it. Now let's come back to something I mentioned earlier. Beaufort isn't really a beach town. I think when a lot of people start researching Beaufort, they assume it's going to be a lot like Atlantic Beach or Emerald Isle. But it's actually very different. Yes, you're still surrounded by water. Yes, you're minutes away from incredible beaches. But Beaufort is often considered more of a boating community rather than a beach community. A lot of residents here spend their weekends out on the boat at Cape Lookout, fishing, cruising Taylor's Creek, exploring the islands, visiting Shackleford Banks. The water is part of daily life here, but not necessarily in the way that newcomers often think. The closest sandy beach is probably Radio Island, and residents aren't just walking out of their homes onto the beach. That's not what draws people to Beaufort. The lifestyle in Beaufort here still revolves around the water, but it's a boating lifestyle, not a beach lifestyle. Easy access to water is a big plus in Beaufort. Beaufort is not what I would call a bargain coastal town. Home prices in Beaufort have increased significantly over the years, and waterfront properties can be particularly expensive. But one thing that attracts a lot of buyers to the area is that you don't have to live directly on the waterfront to experience all the things that make Beaufort special. There are public boat ramps, waterfront parks, and access points throughout Beaufort. There are marinas where you can store your boat in dry storage until you're ready to use it. And many neighborhoods will offer community boat ramps and docks. Whether you're heading to Cape Lookout, spending the day fishing, or taking a sunset cruise around Taylor's Creek, it's relatively easy to enjoy the boating lifestyle even if your home doesn't sit directly on the water. And while we're talking about boating, I know a lot of people will ask the question, do I need a boat to enjoy Beaufort? The short answer is no. That's actually one of the most common questions I get from relocation buyers. There are plenty of ways here to enjoy the water without even owning a boat. In fact, I've even covered that in one of my more recent videos. I'll put a link above to the video so you can check it out. Here's what I think may be the biggest reason people come to Beaufort and then decide they want to stay. Community. When people move to Beaufort, they often tell me they're looking for something they feel like they've lost. They want neighbors who know each other. They want local events. They want their kids growing up somewhere that still feels connected. And Beaufort delivers that better than any place I've ever seen. Whether it's the 4th of July parade, the Christmas parade, the pirate invasion, youth sports, church events, fishing tournaments, or simply running into a familiar face downtown, this place has a genuine sense of community. One thing that you'll notice is that people actually show up. When something is happening in Beaufort, the town comes out. Personally, one of my favorite examples of that is the Beaufort Little League. As a parent, I've spent a lot of evenings and weekends on the ball fields here in Beaufort, and it's become one of my favorite things about living here. Not because of baseball, but because of what it represents. On any given night, you'll see parents, grandparents, friends, family, local business owners, volunteers, all coming together to support the children. It's a place where you realize that community isn't just something people talk about. It's something people actually participate in. While we're on the subject, I think the concession stand at the Beaufort Little League, the Potter Barn, is one of the best restaurants here in Beaufort. And that's not a joke. She makes some seriously good tacos. Things like that are what make Beaufort feel unique and special. It's not just the waterfront or the historic homes. It's the people who volunteer, show up, and create places for neighbors to become friends. And I think that's a big part of why so many people, particularly families, decide to make Beaufort home. They want their kids growing up in a place where those type of connections still exist. If you're considering a move to Beaufort or anywhere else on the Crystal Coast, well then I've put together a free Crystal Coast relocation guide. The link is down below. It's completely free and answers a lot of questions people have about moving here to the Crystal Coast. Now let's talk about a few things that surprise people about Beaufort. Another thing that surprises a lot of relocation buyers is that Beaufort can mean different things to different people. There's Beaufort the town, inside city limits. There's Beaufort the zip code. And those are not the same thing. You could still have a Beaufort mailing address and be a considerable distance away from downtown Beaufort and Front Street. In fact, the Beaufort zip code covers a much wider area than most people think. It also includes places like Merriman, South River, and some communities in the Down East area of Carteret County. That's why it's important to make sure you understand exactly where a home is before you make a decision to buy it. Oftentimes, I'll get a phone call from a buyer who'll say, hey, I found this house I really like. I want to take a look at it. I love the downtown area of Beaufort. And then they give me the address and I tell them, well, yes, it has a Beaufort zip code, but this house is actually about 30 minutes away from Front Street. Some buyers love being downtown, right in the middle of everything, and close to the Beaufort Historic District. Others prefer areas like Eastman's Creek Landing, Bow Coast West, Deerfield Shores, Greystone Landing, Lennoxville Point, or other areas further out in the county. Each offers a very different lifestyle, while all of them share a Beaufort address. Now let's talk about who Beaufort may not be for. Beaufort is no longer the well-kept secret it once was. People have discovered it, and home prices reflect that. Many relocation buyers are surprised at how expensive homes can be in certain parts of Beaufort. As supply for property in Beaufort continues to be finite and demand continues to increase, well, prices are going to continue to go up. If you're looking for rapid growth and constant development, Beaufort may not be a spot for you either. In fact, one reason that current residents love Beaufort so much is because they want to preserve the character of the town that made it feel special in the first place. If your dream is to walk out of your house and ride onto wide open sandy beaches, well then Beaufort isn't a fit for you. You probably would want to consider Emerald Isle or Atlantic Beach. Beaufort offers a different lifestyle. And for the right person, that's exactly the appeal. So why are so many people moving to Beaufort? It's not because of the beach. It's not because of the restaurants. It's not even because of the historic homes. Now those things certainly matter. But what people are really moving here for is a lifestyle. They're looking for a place where community still matters, where yes, life moves a little slower, where the water is part of everyday life, where people know their neighbors, and where they can build the next chapter of their life in a town that feels authentic. And whether that's retirement, raising a family, spending all weekend on the water, or just trying to find a place that feels more connected than where they came from, that is what keeps drawing people to Beaufort year after year. If you're considering relocating to Beaufort or anywhere else on the Crystal Coast, well then I'd love to help you. My contact information is below, as well as a link to my free Crystal Coast relocation guide. If you have questions about Beaufort, well then drop them in the comments below. For more information on what it's like to live on the Crystal Coast, well then check out this playlist. I break down different communities, the real cost of living here, and questions you don't even know you should be asking. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.